What's up, Resource Nation? Welcome to yet another edition of the Masterclass series with our good friend. He's been on the show several times, Coach Bill Hart from Building Champions, speaker, author, coach, just all around badass, if I can say that, an influencer, great guy. Two things you want to check out when it comes to Bill Hart: shoulder taps, which is an amazing video that you did. Last time I checked, had like 10 million views. Is that right?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
yep.
We don't have a video like that. Most people don't have that in the can, something with 10 million views, so kudos. And then also, if you haven't yet, I've bought probably up to 30 or 40 copies for myself and my friends. White Collar Warrior, amazing book. You should check that out. Coach,
thanks,
welcome to the show, bud.
Great to be here. Great to be here as always. Thanks for the shameless plugs on my behalf.
Yes, right? It's been a while since you've been really busy. You've been traveling, just came back from the Masters, Coach. And I want to unpack one thing with you today, and it's something that's been top of mind for you. You've traveled. For realtors that may not know, Bill basically works with the best of the industry. So when it comes to perspective, in mortgage and real estate, I'm not sure that there's a better person that has a better, more well-rounded perspective and approach at what's happening, because he's working not with just one top performer or CEO or executive. He's working with several from several different brands. So he's got a really unique perspective, kind of like Garth Graham does. We've had him on the show a few times. But today, I'm going to unpack one thing with you, and it's something you're passionate about. And I'm going to kind of ask a really long question, and I'll throw it to you. So the one thing is...
I'm hoping it's cheeseburgers,
no.
But I feel like
so
it's
am
not.
I, because I'm starving. Right? That's not the one thing.
Okay.
The one thing, though, is going from intention to execution. Now, entrepreneurs, CEOs, leaders, mortgage lenders, realtors, they're all going to struggle with this one thing over the next month or two. They're all going to build a plan. Some are better than others at building an actual game plan or a business strategy, but they're going to struggle with the execution part. We all have great intentions, whether you own a small business, you're a doctor, lawyer, realtor, lender. You're going to get your teams together right now, probably in December. You're going to formulate a really cool plan, whether that's a one-page business plan or a 4 or 5, kind of like what you've offered. But then we're going to get into 2020, which is only a few weeks away, and that's when the work begins. And that's where I see all of us, including me, we struggle with going from the best intentions to high-level execution. And I know that you've been a master at this. This is something you're passionate about. So, Coach, tell us, how do we go from intention to execution?
2 words. You ready?
I'm ready.
You guys ready?
I'm ready. Own it.
You got to own it, man. Because as I listening to your question, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, there's so many different ways that this question could be answered. But I do think that's where it starts, Ryan. I think you got to own it. But what I mean by that is it's easy. It's really easy to come up with a number that you want to hit, whether it's income or volume or a goal or whatever that is, and not own it. And so if you ask me, what do I see that's worked over 17 years? We figured out the other day, 16,000 hours in the coach's chair, in this coaching chair. This little Herman Miller chair has had a lot of miles on it. Yeah, man, you gotta own it, right? And so what I mean by that is, I think for some people, that can mean I'm just committing to this and it's going to happen. I mean, writing that book, I think you've heard me tell the story of this, but for 4 years I was talking about a book and I had done the interviews, but I didn't have a book. And so I finally showed up in front of my same group you were just talking about, the Masters Coach. These are my best clients. And I said, if I show up at our next event and I don't have a written manuscript done, don't let me in the room. So group accountability can be enormously important, right?
Gotcha.
I teased, you and I had a coaching session just before this, and I teased a story that this very day, it was a conversation that I just had with a guy that was a regional manager, and basically what he's saying to me in his written update, you know how we do in coaching, right? He sends me a written update as to where he's at. And he says, yeah, if I'm honest, it's been a really good 6-month run. I think I'm just going to cruise the next few weeks, but I don't feel good about that. I got some stuff that I need to do. And so you can't say that to your coach, right? So
I was just thinking that. You can't, things not to say to your coach.
Really?
Yeah.
I said, okay, man. So here's the thing. And Ryan, I find this to be so effective in coaching. I can come up with an action plan and it'll be okay. But if you come up with the action plan and I hold you to that thing that you came up with, much more effective. So I asked him, and this happened to have been a recruiting action plan for him. And he said, okay, you know what? I'm going to make the list of the people that I think are good targets. It would be a good culture fit. I'd like to have them on my team. I'm going to reach out to them. And, I'm just asking him, so by when? It's the famous question in coaching.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it by Friday. Great. By Friday. And so then I asked him to think about something. Now, at the time that we're recording this, it is Monday, December 9th. The time that I was talking to him about was Friday the 13th, whatever.
Yeah.
Friday, December 13th, this Friday. And I said, great. So let's jump forward to Monday, December 23rd. It's the day before Christmas Eve, probably the last day you're going to work, if at all, for a couple weeks. Let's say you get to that date and busyness got in the way and you didn't do any of this stuff. You just told me that you had such high intentionality about how does that feel? And he was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't feel good. Because then I'm like, man, I really got to hit it in January and I'm just entering into the holidays. So that feels horrible. And I said, okay, so conversely, let's say you got check marks and boxes. You got all those little endorphins flying in your system like, yeah, man, nailed it. Didn't talk to this guy, but reached out to her, had a great conversation, moving things into action here, right? Feel good. How's that feel? Oh, that feels really good. Okay, so let's anchor that. And then I said, now listen to me. What I'm doing at my end, and I've got a little app that I use called Do, D-U-E, just reminds me of things that I say I'm going to do that I don't want to disappear in the Outlook, ecosystem, right? So I said, let's call this guy's name Bob. It is not Bob. But I said, did Bob do what he said he was going to do 4:15 Friday the 13th? So it's going to pop up on my phone. If I haven't heard from him, I'm going to text him like, what happened?
Yeah.
So I think that's it, bud. I think that if you own it, I think if you've got some way to engage accountability, whether it's group accountability like I did with my book, or individual accountability with a coach, with someone that you work with, somebody that you work for. So it's more than just you, because what I know for me, I don't know how it is for Ryan Hills, but I know for Bill Hart, if I don't tell anybody, classic example for me is workouts. I'm an up at 5 a.m., start coaching at 7:30 a.m. guy. I don't have time to work out in the morning. So if I don't work out between that 12 to 2 window, my mind says, do it this afternoon. But what I know is going to happen is, I know we're in the holidays. Tony and I are going to be running the Costco. I got things going on.
Right.
And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to want a glass of wine. It's like, yeah, I'd really like a glass of wine right now. That sounds really good. And I'm not going to work out.
Yeah.
Because nobody's holding me to it.
That's what I want to ask you a question on, the accountability. And you shared your group accountability example. I think most in our business, I don't know about other entrepreneurs, but in our business, if you're running a team, like you're a top producing loan officer or realtor, you may have 3 or 4 people on your team. And you say the word accountability, and I think for most top producers in their head, they're organically go to like sharing that up with like a superior maybe. But I'm a big proponent of sharing that up and down. So if you have, loan officer assistants, I would encourage you, and I don't know how you feel about this, I'll ask you in a second, but share that with the LOA. Or also, like you said, get their buy-in to, hey, what do you think the team should look like next year? What are your thoughts? I really love to take in tons of input, then try to come up with, the kind of the final version of what that looks like. And so often we just like take it all on our shoulders to have to come up with the entire plan, not leveraging all the smart people around you that may just have a different way of looking at it or thinking about, the plan next year. And, it's not all on your shoulders. You leverage the team around you up and down, both of them, and accountability up and down. Because accountability comes from both sides. I'm a big believer in that. I don't know if you agree with that, but I just kind of share that to encourage everybody to leverage everybody first of all on your team, but then accountability comes from both.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. I love the idea, particularly down in the example that you gave, and I hate to use that, right? But if you've got somebody in a support position, what we mean there is You know what? Hold me to this. Some of the most effective things that I've gotten done are because there was somebody in a support role that was helping me in a particular area who said, hey, coach, you said you were going to get this done. Anything you need from me? You know, can I protect you? Can I create a window so that that can get done? Yeah, man, I love that a lot. So that's a great takeaway, and thanks for bringing it.
Yeah, the other thing I'm going to make, again, for our industry, I think of my buddy Jason who runs a chiropractic business. This message is for him too. It's a small business. He does very well. But, is he planning properly? Is he going from intention to execution? It's the same for doctors, lawyers. But again, back to our business, I know a lot of lenders, and I know a lot of realtors, and I know come January, like we just don't have this proactive approach at running a business. And some of us are W-2'd. You're all self-employed. I don't care if you're a loan officer or realtor. It's your business. And it like boggles my mind. And I'm going to call you all out. So this is kind of just true to my nature. I don't mind calling you out because it's for your, the betterment. But I see you come to work and there's no proactive nature to running the business. And I think of that would not fly. If we owned a gas station, our approach at running lending and real estate would be like this. I would show up to work and I would sit behind the cash register. I forgot to order gas, so that kind of sucks because I'm not proactive. I also forgot to attract some customers, so nobody's coming in. And I'm still sitting behind the cash register waiting for people to come in. I have no social strategies. I haven't thought about tomorrow. It's like that's what we do. That's our approach is we show up to work and like we feel like that's it. Guys, we're not salaried people. You can't just show up to work. There has to be a proactive nature to what you're trying to do. You're running your business. I always tell, people around me, if you show up to Monday and your calendar, you talked about Outlook, if your calendar's empty, you've already failed. There's no proactive nature. And you guys know you're going to do this. You're going to jump on Facebook and you're going to see what's going on. You're going to wait till lunch comes around and find a lunch buddy. And some of you are going to probably do that lunch, maybe make a call. And then you're going to wait for happy hour to come. It's at 3 p.m. and you're going to have a drink, especially in December. That's not how you run a business. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, I'm getting in your grill. I'm just saying we have to take a proactive approach. And part of the proactive approach is actually having a plan. I can't execute what I didn't write down. So I got to go back and write some plans down. What does my Monday look like? What does my Tuesday, my Wednesday, my Thursday? I guess that's my big challenge for you. Bill threw out a bunch too, but don't show up to Monday without a plan. Don't show up to Tuesday without a plan. Yeah, sorry for the rant. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No. It makes total sense. And it's the reason that I'm such a big fan of Win by Noon. So, Todd Bookspan, and Todd Bookspan was a client of mine for a long time. And he really landed on this idea of what you're talking about, which is knocking out those specific disciplines. As a matter of fact, I recently did an interview with him on my podcast, All In with Coach Bill Hart. Look for probably episode 23, I think, with Todd Bookspan
we'll post it in the comment section
below. Put it in the show notes.
Yep.
Thank you. It's a really good interview of him talking about from his own experience and his own life of seeing that, wow, I am so much more productive when I identify non-negotiable disciplines. I knock them out early in the morning, and then it allows me to have the rest of the day to react. And, Hal Elrod's book, Miracle Morning, he totally paints this picture. But if you ask me, because I'm tactical guy, right? I don't want to spend time up at 30,000 feet. I want to get you down on the runway. So this is something that will actually help you. I don't care if you manage your schedule in your phone, on an iPad, on a laptop, or a yellow pad. Get a copy of Win by Noon. Like, commit to it for a quarter. He sells it quarter by quarter. So winbynoon.com. I think it's $29. Mm-hmm. It's a spiral bound notebook. It's big, it's inconvenient, and it's impossible to ignore, because what'll happen is he gets really clear in there on whether you're a real estate agent or a loan officer or really just anybody. I mean, your chiropractor could use this. He's got I think he calls it the executive edition. So anybody can use this. And it's old school, it's paper, and you know what? Run with it for a quarter and watch what happens. Because if you look at that day, as you said, if it's Sunday night and I look at Monday and there's nothing there, you've already set yourself up to fail. But if you look at Monday and you say, you know what, I've got 3 people I need to make follow-up calls for. I need to design a social campaign on Instagram. I've got to spend 35 minutes designing that, whatever. It's going to make a difference in your life. So I'm a huge believer in Win by Noon. I would go check that out.
Love that. I'm going to ask you one question, but also clarify, guys, I'm not talking at you today. I'm talking with you. Bill knows this firsthand. The RE Source, we struggle just like you do with execution. We spent several weeks with Bill, with RC, myself, and Aaron, with our execution plan that was several pages deep. So it's a challenge for me. I know it's a challenge for you guys, which is why I wanted to leverage Bill's thoughts on this. So one question before we wrap up. I know you're busy. You got lots of clients waiting. So are you, you've shared with me the one-page business plan, and then I also have one from you that's super detailed, which I love. I get to nerd out on. That's Excel and has all the metrics ever. I prefer that one. Is there a right answer when it comes to like the one-page plan or the 4-page, or is it just about the person, and a good match?
It's about the person, but I will say to you, we get much more traction with the one-page business plan in any industry. And at Building Champions, only a third of our business is in the mortgage space. We're coaching Bristol Myers Squibb Oncology. We coach Daimler, the parent company to Chrysler and Mercedes. We coach Chick-fil-A. I mean, we've got clients across the gamut in all different industries. And that one-page business plan, Ryan, the beauty of that is, and you can put that in the notes as well.
Is that okay to share?
Oh yeah, for sure. We just ask that you leave our logo on it. It's our intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
But oh my goodness, for you to be able to, so this closing thought, imagine if you had a one-page document that had your theme for the quarter, and then it had your outcomes that you want to shoot for, typically your numbers, the disciplines that you're going to commit to, which will help you to get to the numbers, and then the projects that require a little bit extra time and effort down at the bottom with due dates. If you had that to focus on as you enter into Q1, superpower.
Yeah,
so
I love that.
Get yours fired up. But I would say a disproportionate number of people are attracted to the one-page business plan for sure.
That reminds me of another Bill Hart-ism, and I'll probably butcher it, but it was last year you kind of talked a lot and you shared this, but what one thing, if focused on, would have like the biggest impact on your business? And for me, I'm a guy that I have to see it every day, and I am in my calendar every second of every day. If I didn't have it, I'd be lost. But I had that every day, that saying every day would show up because I got to work and I would see that. And I kind of did that at a big level every day. Like what one thing today, if I focus on, would have the biggest impact on the business. So that's another Bill Hart-ism that really helped me. You guys could take the same strategy, throw it in your calendar when you get to work. If it's 8:30, 7 o'clock like Bill, let it be the first thing you see every day and just top of mind. Like, yeah, that's right. Because again, sometimes those 4-pagers that I love, they get overwhelming. And that's a great point with your 1-pager. I understand why you probably have the most success with the 1-pager because, keep it simple, stupid. One of those things.
Keep it simple.
But every day,
so that
what
actual
one thing?
Question, right? That actual question, you're so close. That actual question is, and I want you all to ask yourself this question. What one thing, if implemented,
there it is,
would have the biggest impact on your business and possibly your life?
Love it.
So you'll know what it is. Like you don't need me or anybody else to bring that one thing to you. I guarantee you already know what it is. You already know what it is. So what is that thing? For me, when I was writing the book, it was scheduling time to write. Is it a workout? Is it cleaning up your database? If you're in the mortgage industry right now, I know the vast majority of you have let your database suffer. Now's a great time 100%. To reconnect, right?
Yeah, that was a huge takeaway from a top mastermind event that we just talked about, was cleaning up the database. Again, being right on and having several points of light in the industry, you were right on with that. Another great takeaway as part of the strategy going into 2020, like earmark that, like make sure that's somewhere that you're cleaning up the database, but also having intention. That came out of the top. These are 80 million, $100 million producers making $1 million a year, guys. And I asked them all what their takeaways were, and all of them had that top takeaway next year, because one of the top producers got 60% of her business, believe it or not, from her database. And this is a person that does $80 million worth of business. So, I mean, do the math. That's a lot of business, to Bill's point, from the database. So you got to clean it up. Great call out, Bill. But there also has to be intention and execution to that database. We always think about social strategies. What are we going to do to reach out? But what are you going to do to touch the people that you already have in the database? Maybe that's an event. Maybe that's a post. Maybe that's a blog. Didn't think we were going to go there today, but another nugget that we found.
Let me just help you with that, if I may, because it's something you can put in the show notes and people could use this. This particular one, I think, is attributable to Tim Templeton, who wrote the book, The Referral of a Lifetime. Great read, by the way. But Joe Stumpf and Brian Buffini have both done some version of this. He calls it the I Goofed letter. And it basically says, so you send it out to your database, and it just says, you know what? I apologize. I haven't done a good enough job staying in touch with you. It's been busy. Rates have been low, blah, blah, blah. Consider this the tangible evidence that your relationship is important to me, and I'll be reaching out in the next week. Now, if you say that, you have to do that, which means if you've got 500 people in your database, don't send 500 of these letters out January 3rd.
You're not going to be able to do it all.
That's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Send 50 out a week and then start making the calls. That one thing, and this is a 10-year-old strategy. Like, this is not brand new, right? But that one thing, if implemented, will have an enormous impact on your business and potentially your life. So I'll provide that to you, and you can put it down below in the notes.
That. Tons of takeaways, tons of resources shared today. I think our time was incredibly valuable spent with you. Thank you again. Everybody watching, I hope you do. I hope you share this with your teams. I hope you take some of the challenges and the resources that we gave today and leverage them, and make sure that 2020 is an awesome year, because I'm super excited about it. I can't wait. I know it's December. I just hung up with Bill, my own personal coaching call. I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to go. I can't wait for it. I'm not taking too much time off. I'm going to spend some time with the family, but I got a lot of homework to do myself. So, Coach, thank you so much.
We got to take more ground, right? We got to take more ground.
Take more ground in 2020. Another big takeaway from our top producer mastermind. They're getting ready to take more ground. I hope you guys are
right
as well.
On.
So, any questions for Bill? I'm sure he'll answer them. Put them in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys next week.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me.